Hey, what's up? This is Paul Solt from Super Easy Apps, and this is a devlog update number 2. I haven't done one of these in a while. I've been sort of heads down working on this code. It took a little bit longer than I thought it would. I got an MVP of my slideshow overlay tool that I want to use. And then I've been working on making sure that I could parse the Markdown slides that I wanted to. So right now I have input that is just sort of simple Markdown. I want to create this as a slideshow that I can overlay on my screen. And so this is that app. Now there's 2 different views I have here that are sort of competing. This is the original prototype view, which has the overlay if I start scrolling with the mouse wheel. And so that allows me to display something on screen. It will display on any of my screens, and it will even display over a full screen application. So that's pretty cool. But I needed to have more structured content, so I had to write some parsing logic. And initially I used ChatGPT to sort of help with some of this. It sent me down some bad rabbit holes, and it did help prototype, but it is not the best. And the same is true with the parsing logic. Like, it got me something functional that I could then tinker with and play around with and clean up and make it a little bit more robust. So this part I now need to integrate into this overlay. Currently, these are kind of like speaker notes, so I can put these on my other monitor, and then I can see what I want to present. I have, the way I work is I've got my webcam pointed at me, and behind it I have a 27-inch monitor that is in a vertical orientation. And that allows me to look at myself, because I also do a little overlay. When I do videos, I use this recording monitor that allows me to then look in the direction of myself. I can see my expression. I can see my face. I can see if I'm in frame, if I'm like causing shadows because of my lights. I can do all of that and talk in the direction of the camera, which I find super helpful. In the past, I struggled with making videos and looking more natural. And so this helps me look a little bit more natural. So I can have my speaker notes over here, and then I can have the full screen overlay. So I can just sort of cycle through that content and see the content, and I can talk about it. And I really like the idea of this application. You might not care, but for me, it's going to be helpful for creating some of the types of content that I want to create. And one of them is on keyboard shortcuts. So this summary view is kind of cool. I'm using the grid view in SwiftUI. And then I've just got these small panels. Nothing is using the correct formatting for like how big it needs to be just yet, but this will fit into this once I figure out how to do that. So that's kind of next on my agenda. Once I get that squared away, then I can start filming some content with it and then tweaking it as I need to. So it's pretty useful already. And one of the things I like about it is it can help keep me on track with whatever topic I'm talking about, really hyper-focus the video so it's not just me blabbering away, which I sometimes do. And so I'm trying to do everything live as possible. I really don't like editing. I think that a lot of YouTube videos feel a little unnatural when they cut out all of the space between every single word that people say. So I try as much as possible to sort of shoot things live. And I think for some content that works good, and I think for other content it doesn't work as good. But this I see as something that will be helpful. So that's my devlog update. This is all Swift code. Doing SwiftUI. I've got my parsing logic, which ChatGPT helped with a bit. So this is a slide deck parser. There's sort of 2 parts. I parsed the Markdown, and I had to sort of revamp how ChatGPT was doing it so that it would be more robust, which ChatGPT is like good for prototyping, but it's not good for like robust code. It's very brittle. So this is all like ChatGPT, and I've got a bunch of fix me's here because I would never leave code like this. Some of this is super brittle. Like, it's currently doing my keyboard shortcuts a certain way, but that's not going to work if I don't have keyboard shortcuts. So it's not thinking about like the future at all. And so that's where you have to be really explicit with like what you're giving it and like the types of inputs. So I've got a lot of stuff still to do to make this a more robust app, but just for my keyboard shortcuts videos, this is going to be perfect. So I'm excited about that. I use regular expressions. I might make a video on how that works just to have some focused content for counting the leading hashes, getting the heading level. I was playing around with like the font size based on that, but for what I need, I don't need to do that. There's another app called IA Presenter, which is a much better slideshow app than what I have, but it's also not exactly what I want to do. Like I don't want to, it's cool. It's got this little window. You can sort of cycle through the content somehow. Apparently I can't cycle. Next slide. Do I have to use the arrow keys? Arrow keys. So this is super cool, all taken from Markdown. So if I stop that, you can see your notes. I don't write out scripts. I just talk based on what content I have. So like this is a little bit overkill, but I really like some of the ideas. Having like a panel like this would be super helpful as a speaker panel. So I am considering something like that, but I'm doing a very Spartan sort of application that's really about showing an overlay on screen on top of Xcode, on top of my different apps that I have open. Okay, so that's that. Then we're using SwiftUI, just have a bunch of different views for showing the different structure. And I don't know if there's anything else that's interesting. Like the main view, this is all driven by the view for slide, which I just have an enum for the slide that has the different content, and then I can just display whatever I need to display. So like this that we're seeing right now is a section overview, and I'm using the grid. So this was actually really, I was trying to use a lazy grid and that did not work with the layout. It wasn't getting this alignment right. But using the GridRow totally makes this work. And you can sort of see, like if I take out the GridRow, just as a quick demo, and we run this one more time, or if I just run preview. Oh, this is just doing on the next line. I changed that. So it's, I need my other H stack back. But this is where it's like super handy to play with stuff, because I didn't know exactly like what layout I wanted to do. Let's see if I can just do it here. So this is the alternate layout of like just doing it in line. And then I was playing around with the alignment. And once I discovered the grid view, I was like, oh, that's exactly what I want. I just think it's easier to see the keyboard shortcuts. Sometimes there's related ones. So that's something that you just have to experiment with. And I really enjoyed that. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I'm hoping that this makes it easier for me to create some YouTube videos that are more focused, more streamlined, and give me the option of teaching things live without doing a whole lot of editing at the end. Because if I can create more helpful content, that's better for you. That's better for me. I don't have a ton of time, and if I'm working full-time for another company, then the amount of time that I have for YouTube is going to be smaller, so I need tools that are going to make it easier for me to create content faster. So that's kind of the goal of this tool, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.